11/1/19, The Trouble with JoJo Rabbit. The greatest satire about Nazism set in Nazi Germany is Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. Charlie Chaplin's childhood was dominated by poverty and injustice. His half-brother's father was a Jew. He made the movie when 90% of the American people had no appetite for a war against Hitler. The creative energy for all of Chaplin's work came from his love of ordinary people. He was an advocate for man's impulse for love in opposition to man's will to power. The Great Dictator was passionate and immediate. Charlie Chaplin's art used the raw material of his own inner and outer experience. JoJo Rabbit uses Nazism as a metaphor. It's not the right metaphor. I watched the comic set pieces in the film of Nazi fools. I watched Nazis portrayed as bullies, a la the bullies in teen comedies. I looked at the Technicolor hangings in the town square, and I thought about newsreel footage of thousands of dead, emaciated bodies in the ditches of liberated concentration camps. JoJo Rabbit is well-intentioned and lame. The poet Rilke is quoted at the end of the movie, something about accepting the beauty and the terror of life, unearned by filmmakers who never lived such terror and are just starting to explore the beauty. I use my own life as the basis of my work. I don't do it because I think I am so interesting. I do it because I don't have anything else to work with reasonably. I could care less about aesthetics. I have experienced injustice. I have experienced nothing like the Holocaust. Mel Brooks' The Producers is much better than JoJo Rabbit. That movie isn't really about Nazism. It's about how we think about it. That, specifically through the lens of show business, is what The Producers is about. I've written in the past about how deeply I was affected by the film 12 Years a Slave. I understood the brutality of slavery in the abstract before I saw that movie. I understood it a little more emotionally after seeing 12 Years. It is no accident that the film was made by black artists. JoJo Rabbit sees Nazism the way I used to view slavery. There are limits to education and comedy. JoJo resembles a college term paper and Hogan's Heroes. Art is about more than being smart, and sketch comedy is a low form, entertainment and not art, ill-equipped to deal with what seriously matters. Life is a sacrificial rite. Humor is acceptance of and perspective on the sacrifice. Making art is a lot harder than making JoJo Rabbit. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great movie. It's loaded with humor, but it is not a comedy or a satire. It is something more. It is Quentin Tarantino's personal experience made universal. That's art. It's not easy. What is tough about it is not the technical skill. It is the approach to living, to think and feel. The filmmakers of JoJo Rabbit may not be bad people. I'll know for sure years from now if they are dissatisfied with this film. I started out as a sketch comedian. It's a good impulse to want to talk about important things, like the JoJo people. But you have to find your lane and change lanes as you move forward. The drive to entertain and be popular has to be replaced by the need to connect. Life hurts, and the artist changes the pain into something else. JoJo is loaded with skill and craft that is looking for something worthy to be applied to. That something is life. Postscript. Every generation thinks it finds something new, but the real thing is timeless. Not to serve the artist's quest for immortality. No one is immortal. Do you want to see something timely about Nazism in the year 2019? Watch The Great Dictator and read the Rick blog for explorations of watching movies about Nazism. I don't do cataclysm. We all have a tough go of it. We all have plenty to say and hear. We all can warm each other with resonance, seeing our own hearts beating in very different others. But we have to tell the stories that we are meant to tell. It's not pretend dress up. It's not make-believe. The best fiction is autobiography. Every character that we imagine is ourselves. We can't steal someone else's. I'm glad I can't write about the Holocaust, but for the grace of. The Holocaust is a story I must listen to, not tell. When I started doing this, I had no idea as to what I was getting into. In my case, I always experienced my life intensely. I discovered what to do with that experience relatively late. I started typing this blog in 2014. I started writing it on August 7th, 1955. I just didn't know that I was doing it. The hardest part about being an artist is living with the flame of dissatisfaction. Experience, observe, reflect, apply, and know when to get out of Dodge. The possibilities in a moment are greater than I can ever imagine, and they are bestowed upon me, a boon from heaven. Art steps in beyond the limits of talent, wisdom, intelligence, or education. Life in all of its beauty and terror is greater than all of the above. Copyright 2019, Richard Thomas.